Hey everyone, welcome back to the Sub 30 series. This episode is episode 6, and we are going to be discussing the ins and outs of the Nether, how to traverse the Nether, what you're looking for, and frankly, everything in between. So, this is you. You just got out of your Nether portal. Congratulations. But now, what are you looking for? Well, you're looking for two things: a way to get pearls and rods. Pearls you can easily find here in the Warped Forest. You can collect a whole bunch of them pretty easily, as well as you can alternatively do it in a bastion. And rods are exclusive to fortresses, so unfortunately you'd have to find a fortress, which isn't fun. However, I have tried my best to lay out the quadrants here in Minecraft form. So, the obsidian represents where structures cannot spawn. Structures are only fortresses and bastions. Rune portals are not included. There is only one structure per quadrant. So, between 0 and 64, structures can't spawn here. 0 would be here on the top and here on the left of this little cross, you'd call it, of obsidian. And negative 64 would be on this right side, as well as the bottom side. And 416 to 480 is the opposite of this, because that would be 0 and 64 is in the negative, 416 to 480 would be in the positive here. And 416 would be on the bottom and on the right. And these quadrants will repeat forever. However, we're only going to be looking at the simplest form, assuming you're not going extra regional or anything, because by that time the run would be borderline, if not fully dead. So I've also laid out representative biomes here. And 0, 0 would actually be about where my mouse is right now, right in the middle. And if you go to positive, positive, you find a fortress, or very far into negative, negative, and there'd be a bastion on the bottom left. But on top right, there's nothing. And I said earlier that one structure spawns per quadrant, so where's the structure, right? Well, there's basalt here, representative of basalt biome, and that would actually be the quadrant we're in right now. However, because there's basalt here, a bastion tried to spawn here, but it couldn't because there's basalt. It's a basalt biome. Bastion tries to spawn and it goes, oh no, I can't, and it just fades out of existence, and it's just an empty quadrant. So if there's any kind of basalt, just note that there's a chance that a bastion tried to spawn there and it couldn't, which is not fun. However, you will have to deal with it. Yeah. So, in an ideal world, you can see 96 blocks in the Nether, regardless of how high it renders, and says as long as it's more than 6, or it's 6 exact. So, you'd probably want to go to at least 110 in terms of positives, and to about 320. That's where you'd like to be, between 110 and 320 if you're in the positives, or between negative 170 and negative 360 if you're in the negatives. Because you can see 96 blocks, and then bastions and fortresses are not like 1 block thick, so you can be very, very far away from them and still manage to spot them. So let's see how exactly we're going to go about traversing the Nether. But first off, here's different biomes I've laid out. Like, this would be a warped, and this down here would be basalt and whatnot. That's representative of different biomes and where structures could spawn. But if you're at 0, 0, that would be, again, the little middle, the top left middle section there. So you'd actually want to go into positive, positive in an ideal world, because that would give you the best chance of finding a fortress quickly. So let's see exactly how to traverse the Nether, because the Nether is a scary place. It has a lot of cliffs, it has a lot of ghasts, it has a lot of not fun stuff. So we have 3 options at our disposal of how to get off a cliff easily. 2 of them you can get from the overworld. That would be a hay bale and a boat. However, we're going to try to stick with the hay bale for now. You could also use one of these twisting vines, or warped vine, whatever you want to call it, but they're officially twisting vines. So you can just place one of these right below your feet and it will catch you. And you can find these in Warped Forest. You can break them, and you sometimes get like 1 or 2. So you can very easily use them. You can also use the hay bale. These are probably the best method. Very easy to collect from the overworld. They block 80% of fall damage. So very, very useful. And you could also use a boat. However, I wouldn't recommend this if you're just trying out a speed run, you can roll it off a cliff and then jump out right before the boat lands so that you don't take any damage. Because if you were to stay in it until the boat lands, you would actually take all the damage and most likely die. So that wouldn't be good. However, as long as you jump out, you'd be fine. So looking around the Nether here, this is the Warped Forest. This is this is the best biome to be in for this type of speedrun. So again, around here you can see all 96 blocks. So again, you want to be between positive 110 and positive 320, as well as negative 170 and negative 360. And you can combine those any way, shape, or form according to the quadrant. So this would be like me running through trying to find, a structure here. You can use the hay bale as I just did. And that's a very simple, very easy, very effective method of getting down from a cliff. And I also wanted to mention the iron pickaxe real quickly. If you have an iron pickaxe, you can instant mine netherrack virtually. You can, if you click and unclick or like tap and untap very, very quickly, there's a little glitch in Bedrock Edition that enables you to do this. However, it's not a glitch, it's a feature, because that's how Minecraft works. So it's not like really a glitch, I guess, but I like to call it a glitch. But it's a feature where you can manage to like tap really, really quickly and break the netherrack instantly. So pretty cool. Another thing I wanted to point out here is being able to place a block right in front of you in Bedrock Edition. Just like this. And you could also manage to run and try to place blocks right below you before you get there. However, there's the God bridging method, that if you sprint, you can manage to place a block and then God bridge effortlessly like this. I'm not placing these blocks. This is just me holding down the place button, so the blocks will place automatically as I'm running. And then you can jump down here with one of these twisting vines. Pretty cool. And that's for little things like this. You can use twisting vines, or you can just bridge up with netherrack that you can very easily get with the iron pickaxe. Iron pickaxes are really useful in runs. If you have the opportunity to get one, definitely get one. But another thing I wanted to point out before we go any further is that you should absolutely write down your coordinates right as you get into the Nether. You could see negative 226, 77, 76. It's right where I am currently. So you'd be sure to write them because you might forget, which wouldn't be good. You could also divide them by 10 when you put them in chat, negative 22, 7, and 7. And then that would be another method of writing them down a little bit quicker. Or you can enable copy coordinate UI in creator settings, like from the main menu, which I don't really know what devices this affects, but I was able to enable it probably about a year ago at this point, and it still works for me. So, but if you can't find it, I don't know. It's just some devices do, some devices don't. So we're going to take another look at how we're going to get around. Again, you have the twisting vines, you have the boat, you have the hay bale. But I definitely need to say the hay bale is the one that's most worth getting. You also cannot make a warp boat or a crimson boat, so get some extra wood from the overworld before you get here. So there's a fortress over here. Awesome. Yeah, you found one. But this is where this traversing the Nether comes into play. You can run, place blocks here, and if you can't afford to take like a heart and a half of damage, you can place a hay bale below you to stop your fall. You see here, we're just going to do the exact same thing. And now we are at the fortress. We're going to bridge up here. There will be an entire fortress episode, probably next episode. But just note that you have to find the good part of the fortress where the fortress and the blaze spawner is. Now you might notice here, looking at our coordinates, that we are actually between the spot where I said structures can't spawn, between 0 and negative 64 here. CRZ coordinate would be like 30. Well, that's because the fortress actually spawned over here and it just spilled over into the bad part. The part where stuff can't spawn, it just spilled over there. So I do slash locate in a little bit, but usually the spawning spot of the fortress is like around the area which separates the good part from the bad part. So we'll go through all that next episode, although I would like to go back and show you exactly where the fortress says it is. So you can see here we're just going to do locate structure fortress, and you can see obviously it's not between 0 and negative 64, but rather it's at like 200, 140, both negative. So that's your introduction to the Nether, quadrants, how to clutch, how to instant mine blocks. Remember that iron pickaxe is incredibly useful, and pretty much everything in between. So we're going to try to run back here and just go over it very slightly. So remember to write down your coordinates right as you get through the portal. You're looking for rods, pearls, and remember this visual. That's all I have for you. So just be sure to review all this, and next episode we will be discussing fortresses and all about them. So stay tuned for that. Goodbye.